Thomas Tuchel knew it all along.
Just your thoughts on the performance of Morgan Rogers?
Yeah, of course. And Morgan does excellent, like the whole team. He's very humble, he's very physical. He has the ability to score and to assist. He had a fantastic season, got well-deserved voted, I think, for the best young player of the last season in the Premier League. That's what he showed.
People were surprised when Rogers was preferred over Bellingham for the England national team.
Aston Villa, Morgan Rogers is in super form, got a brace at the weekend. Does he deserve to be in the starting 11 for England at the World Cup?
It's very difficult to get him in.
But not Aston Villa supporters. They have known for a while how good Morgan Rogers is. Since arriving at Villa Park, he hasn't needed much time at all to make his mark. He's quickly become one of Aston Villa's brightest players.
Morgan Rogers is competing with arguably our best player right now. He plays for Real Madrid in Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham played the last game, and I think in most people's eyes, and certainly in mine as well, I must admit that, I think once we get to the World Cup, Jude Bellingham will be playing in that position. But the more I watch him play, and I actually think Thomas Tuchel thinks like this, this is not an easy decision that Bellingham comes back in. This is a real fight for Jude Bellingham and Morgan Rogers to see who's going to play in that number 10 position behind Harry Kane at that World Cup. And if he keeps playing like that, it's certainly not a given.
He scores, he creates chances. When Villa go on their big push towards the top of the Premier League, Rogers has always been in the middle of it. In the 2024-2025 season, he had 14 goals and 15 assists in all competitions, which is an incredible return for a player who was 22 years old at the time, and a midfielder. That form earned him Villa's Young Player of the Season award, and it didn't stop there. He also picked up the PFA Young Player of the Year award. He's one of those players that can just change a game on his own because of how direct and fearless he is. He's comfortable playing as that number 10, finding space between the lines, and just linking everything together. But he can also drive forward with the ball, beat defenders, or drift wide and put in dangerous crosses. He plays with power and confidence, and he's never shy about taking responsibility, whether that means shooting from distance or running straight at his man. At one point in late 2025, he was leading Villa in both goals and assists in the league. But stars don't just appear out of nowhere. Every breakout player has had a long road behind them, and Morgan Rogers' path to Villa Park was anything but straightforward. Rogers was born in Halesowen in the West Midlands in 2002, and football was a part of his life from the start.
What's made you the player you are? Where did it all start for? I mean, obviously in the West Midlands there, you grew up. How did you start? How did you get yourself involved in football?
It's just my dad, really, just kicking the ball in the back garden like everyone else, really. That fun and that enjoyment of what I can remember when I was younger was just loving football and playing for the fun of it, really. My dad's obviously massive in that, obviously having older brothers as well, playing with and stuff. And my mum as well. My mum's big in football, like our family just loves the game. So from a young age, I was always playing, always enjoying it, and then just going on from team to team and then just taking it from there, really. But yeah, that's the earliest memories I can remember. Playing in Halesowen, just where I'm from, and just kicking the ball around, having fun. Really.
He joined West Brom's academy at just 8 years old. As he moved through the age groups, he became known for his goals, his power, and his confidence on the ball.
What position did you play?
Everywhere, really, but mainly attacker. I was always an attacker, wanted to score goals, always wanted to dribble past everyone. Still the show. But yeah, probably an attacker, just a striker as everyone else.
That carried over to the international level too, where he scored regularly for England's youth teams from under 15s to under 17. His big moment actually came in early of 2019. At just 16 years old, Rogers was called up to the West Brom senior squad. In February, he made his first team debut in an FA Cup match against Brighton, coming on late in the game. What made it crazy is that he had been in school earlier that same day before heading straight to first team training. West Brom manager Darren Moore spoke about how special the moment was, not just for Rogers, but for the club's academy. He only played a few minutes, but that debut showed how highly the club rated him, and it gave him his first taste of senior football. In the summer of 2019, Manchester City came calling. City agreed a deal worth around £4 million, which was a huge move for a teenager who had only just left school. At the time, he was seen as one of the most exciting young players in England for his age. Now, Rogers never broke into City's first team, but his time there was still very important. Training in one of the best setups in the country raised his standards. He played regularly for City's youth sides and continued to develop both physically and technically. The problem was opportunity. City were stacked with stars, and Rogers needed senior minutes to actually grow.
What was it like being in Manchester as a very young man, not probably knowing too many people?
I struggled, I'd say. I really struggled first time away from home. Just a different environment. I think the quality level, I wasn't necessarily the best player in the changing room like I was at West Brom, where I was playing up ages and stuff like that and being pushed and kind of being seen as the next to rise kind of thing. But at Man City, I looked everywhere and everyone was the next to rise, whether it be someone that had just been bought from Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, or someone that come through the ranks. Everyone was the next best. Everyone was playing for England or playing for their country at that level. So I struggled, I found it difficult. I didn't know how to be myself in it. I didn't know how to shine in it. I didn't know how to get the best out of myself in it.
Which meant it was time for some loans. His first proper senior run came in January of 2021 when City sent him on loan to Lincoln City in League One. That was a pretty big step. It was real football, regular game time. He scored his first professional goal later that month, heading in the winner in a 1-0 away victory at Portsmouth. It was a big moment for him and showed that he can deliver in senior games.
That's probably why I took that leap to go out on loan so early. I felt like I needed to go away from the environment, from the system, and get back to what I know best, and I was just playing football and enjoying it. I love my time at City, but for different reasons. Obviously, the people I met, the opportunities, the experiences I got, but I probably didn't show my full potential, and that's, I wouldn't say I regret it because it's helped me become the person I am, but yeah, it's something I look back on and think, yeah, that's a time in my career that I struggled and found difficult.
By the end of that season, he had played 21 league matches and scored 6 goals. I would say for an 18-year-old midfielder, that was a pretty good return. Lincoln fans loved his energy and direct style, and it was the first time that Rodgers really felt like a senior footballer. The next season, he stepped up again, this time to the championship with Bournemouth. This spell was tougher. He wasn't a regular starter and mostly came off the bench, which made it much harder to find rhythm. Still though, he had his moments. Against Lyon in January of 2022, he came on as a substitute and smashed in a first-time shot into the roof of the net to make it 2-2 late in the game. Now, Bournemouth ended up losing in the final seconds, but that goal showed that Rodgers wasn't scared of big moments or tough away grounds. He finished the season with 14 league appearances and just 1 goal. A much quieter spell, but a valuable learning experience.
I always had full belief in my ability, but if you don't go and show it on the weekend, which sometimes I wouldn't, you'd still start to think in your head, am I ever going to reach the level that I know or the potential that I know I can reach? Yeah, it's hard. Obviously, it's a mental battle within yourself.
For the 2022-2023 season, Rodgers went on loan again, this time to Blackpool in the Championship. It was a difficult year for the club, with relegation battles and pressure every week, but Rodgers handled it well. He made 16 appearances and scored once. But that goal, well, it was pretty memorable. On the final day of the season, away at Norwich, Rodgers scored the only goal of the game with a calm, clever finish over the keeper. Even in a struggling team, he showed composure and quality. Playing in a relegation fight actually helped toughen him up and improved his decision-making under pressure.
And I mean, you went to quite a few different teams, Lincoln, Bournemouth, Blackpool.
Yeah.
Was that a great learning curve for you?
Yeah, massive. It's a roller coaster as well. I went to teams top of the table, teams I got relegated with Blackpool, in the mix of playoffs with Middlesbrough and stuff. It's just madness what I've experienced in such a short period, but I think they've all been crucial to me in different periods, and I've had completely different managers that have helped me that I might not have seen at the time, but looking back at it, like I could understand why they've helped me and how they've helped me.
When his Manchester City contract ended in 2023, Rodgers finally made a permanent move. Middlesbrough signed him for around £1 million, which looking back was an absolute bargain. This is where things really clicked for Rodgers. At Middlesbrough, Rodgers had a clear role and freedom. In the 2023-2024 EFL Cup, he scored 5 goals and finished as the tournament's top scorer, helping Middlesbrough reach the semi-finals against the odds. Those performances put him back on the radar of Premier League clubs and proved that he can deliver when it matters the most.
You know when I knew he was going to be a star? I think I'm getting this right. He played for Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, and I thought he was about 31. Seriously. I was like...
Am I aging that much?
That cup run opened the door to the biggest move of his career. In February of 2024, Aston Villa signed Rodgers for around £8 million. Unai Emery had seen enough and made him a priority target.
How much are you looking forward to getting started and playing in the Premier League? And then we've also got European football to look forward to as well.
Yeah, you saying all that is just a dream come true for me, really. I think when you grow up watching football when you're younger, they're the competitions you want to play in and you want to compete at the top. And I'm so grateful and honoured to be given this opportunity to do so. So now it's kind of down to me to show what I'm about and why I deserve to be here.
Rodgers wasted no time. He made his Premier League debut just days later and scored his first Villa goal a couple of months after that. From there, his confidence exploded. By the 2024-2025 season, he wasn't just another member of the squad, he was literally one of the main guys. That was the season that everything came together. Rodgers was scoring regularly in the Premier League, he was creating chances, and he played with so much freedom and flair. The highlight came in the Champions League, where he stunned everyone by scoring a hat-trick against Celtic, 2 of the goals coming inside the first 5 minutes. He followed that up with big goals later in the competition, even scoring against the eventual champions PSG as Villa pushed deep into Europe. By the end of that season, Rodgers had 14 goals and 15 assists in all competitions. He was named Villa's Young Player of the Season and then crowned PFA Young Player of the Year. He had been phenomenal, and that's why in November of 2025, Villa rewarded his rise with a new long-term contract, tying him to the club until 2031. And it makes sense. Morgan Rodgers can do a bit of everything. He can take on any fullback 1v1. He can slip a perfect pass through midfield, or pull the trigger from 25 yards out without even thinking twice. He's tall and powerful, so defenders struggle to knock him off the ball, and he uses his body really well when holding up the play. At 6'2", I mean, this guy just shrugs players aside. And what makes him scary is that he combines that strength with an excellent technical ability. He has a very clean and smooth touch. And he's not just an attacker either. He also works hard defensively. He tracks back, he presses aggressively, and wins the ball high up the pitch. A lot of Villa's dangerous counterattacks start because he's forced a mistake or stolen possession. And we've seen him. When the pressure is on, he just shows up. Against West Ham, Villa were in trouble, but Rodgers scored twice to flip the game into a 3-2 win and keep Villa's title push alive. This is why Unai Emery has so much faith in him. No matter how busy the schedule gets or how big the next game might be, Unai Emery keeps picking him. Last year, along with Emi Martinez and Yuri Tielemans, he was basically untouchable. These 3 were the only Villa players to pass 2,500 league minutes. The only reasons Rodgers missed a game was because of suspension. In fact, there was one moment in the season where Villa were preparing for the PSG game, but Unai Emery still started Rodgers for a game against Southampton before that big Champions League fixture. And once again, Rodgers delivered. Now, the game wasn't pretty by any means. Southampton parked the bus like their life depended on it, they slowed everything down and tried to frustrate the Aston Villa players. Marco Asensio even missed 2 penalties, and Villa were struggling to find rhythm. But when it mattered, Morgan Rodgers stepped up. After moving inside from a wide roll, he picked up the ball between the lines and set up Malin for Villa's second goal, which sealed the win. There were moments earlier in the season when people wondered if Rodgers was playing too much. After some games, he was so exhausted that he could barely walk. Now, Villa were aware of this and managed his recovery carefully, even giving him days off when needed. Unai Emery had also been protective of him. He even came out criticizing England's under-21s for overusing Rodgers. But you really can't blame anyone for Rodgers being played so much, because whenever he's on the pitch, Villa go to another level. The other thing is that physically Rodgers can handle it. He's an absolute beast and works relentlessly, and the talent matches the engine. I mean, just look at his goal against PSG in the first leg of the Champions League quarterfinal, the biggest moment of his career so far, and it was him scoring on the biggest stage in football. By that point, he had already been involved in 6 goals in Villa's Champions League run. By now, the talk around Morgan Rodgers has gone from he's a very good young player to something way bigger. In fact, after Aston Villa beat West Ham, Jamie Carragher didn't hold back, having watched Rodgers score twice, one of them being a ridiculous 25-yard winner. Jamie Carragher said what a lot of people were thinking: this guy is special. At the time, Villa's win kept them just 3 points behind Arsenal at the top of the table.
Arsenal?
And Leeds and Harrogate.
Arsenal!
And Morgan Rodgers was one of the reasons they were still in the title race. His form has also forced his way into the England conversation. Under Thomas Tuchel, he has become a regular name in the squad.
In May last year, did you believe you could be playing for England?
Not this quick now. No way. I just think how everything's happened so quickly and how every opportunity's kind of just fallen on my lap, and then I've kind of taken it in stride and just moved forward with it.
He got his first England call-up in November of 2024 and made his debut later that month. A year later, he scored his first international goal against Wales in the Nations League. Tuchel has clearly taken notice because he made it very clear that Rodgers would be fighting for the number 10 role, even alongside someone as established as Jude Bellingham. That alone tells you how highly Rodgers is rated. The comparison with Bellingham is interesting because their stories are so different. They actually grew up in the same area and crossed paths in youth football, with Rodgers at West Brom and Bellingham just up the road at Birmingham City. But while Bellingham's rise was fast and almost straight to the top, Rodgers had to take the long way around. He went through the lower leagues, learned the hard side of the game, and built himself up step by step. Rodgers himself has said that some players can jump straight into elite football while others need time to grind and grow. His years in the EFL made him tougher, stronger, and more complete. Now, they're teammates with England, but also rivals for a spot. And the fact that Tuchel trusts Rodgers to push someone like Bellingham says everything about how far he's come. Now, Morgan Rogers is not the only good player on Aston Villa. To see just how good the team around him is, you have to watch this video right here.